CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. Nick Haase, MaintainX. We survived SMRP, Fort Worth, Texas last week.
Oh, yeah.
Looking hat, man. I was so glad I could finally get that to you, but we're doing now our post-SMRP kind of check in, unpack. We're not going to cover everything, but just a few takeaways. It's for friends of Nano. That refers to Nano Precise folks, and that's all about being in the nanosphere. MaintainX is, in fact, in that space. They are a friend of Nano, doing great stuff together. We're not going to get too deep in the weeds on that, but at the conference, Nick and I were talking about the connected ecosystem. They did this incredible rodeo that I'm still just so glad we got to participate in. Nobody does that, man. But Nick, welcome back to CMMS Radio and Friends of Nano.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Greg. Excited to be back.
Yeah, no, I always like catching up with you. I love watching the journey. I say it a lot, whether I'm on the mic or not, that you guys are a juggernaut and have covered a lot of ground. And it's nice to see. And I haven't always been in the position to get the inside track on that. So like every now and then we'll do these impromptu recordings where you've gotten a new round and the valuation is kicking up and you're doing great things with technology. But as it relates to SMRP 2025, what are the takeaways? And by the way, when you kicked off the panel discussions on closing day, that's where Scott McKenzie with Industrial Talk ran the onstage panel discussions. He did too. They were back to back, but you did the opening there. And one of the things you said that just sticks out in my mind is next year, Raleigh, North Carolina is where SMRP is going to be. You've got an office out in Raleigh, and you said, bring your boots.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Look, hey, our goal is to continue to try to, make this community, celebrate this community and make and honor it with anything we can do to help support them, either day to day and with their operations, all the way through to helping cultivate that networking and fun experience that SMRP is, and give folks a place to come and have a good time and something to look forward to as well, and make it a bit of a destination. So we've raised the bar pretty high this time around with the rodeo. Our goal is to see what we can put together, and the challenge to our team is to see what we can do to make next year just as exciting, if not better. That's the goal across the board. So we're gonna have a good time.
So when where we sat and recorded, where I was sitting right at the end cap for Nano Precise. That's why it was Friends of Nano, and I could see you guys in the booth, and there was a tremendous amount of activity. You had a pretty sizable team. And I saw lots of engagement. Is there anything that came out of that you can share as far as new relationships from maybe a partnership perspective, or new engagements, things that you're allowed to share? But I'm kind of curious, what were people bringing to you as challenges? What were they interested in learning and having MaintainX help them with?
Yeah, it was all the above and more. I think, we had great existing clients that are there that are fresh out of some great educational content sessions, and they want to come running to us and say, hey, I just had a little click, and I wonder if we could do this in MaintainX. And sometimes the answer was yes, here's how you could do it. And they're like, oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize that was something we could do, because they're literally, you're watching their maturity of their team and their grow in real time, because they're starting to click with some new concepts they're learning in real time. Others came to us on the existing client front saying, hey, I've just thought about this new concept or this process. Could we do that in MaintainX? And we're like, no, tell us why that's exciting. It's not something we've got built in yet. So we got some great feedback we're going to share with our product team and help them make sure we continue to make the product better. A lot of great partners that we have already been working with, whether it's folks that we're currently engaged with, or in the middle of the part of that, or as well as net new partners. So being able to go in and cultivate existing relationships on that front, as well as establish and open up new ones. And then, of course, folks that have not you've been familiar with MaintainX in the past on the practitioner side, that we're excited to kind of learn a little bit more and get hands on with it. And I think that's the great, one of the interesting fun parts about this community is that they're heads down working all the time. And if they've got inefficient, terrible processes, they've even less free time to look up and kind of take a breath of air and see what's going on. So a lot of them take that responsibility to themselves and to their company really seriously, to say, hey, when I come out to a place like SMRP and I'm off the floor for a week or a few days at least, I need to go and make sure that I'm really evaluating and seeing what's new in the market and making sure that I'm keeping my team up to date. So we got to meet a great kind of intersection of all of those people, and that's what makes these events so much fun, is when you get that cross section. You don't always, you hope it's going to be there, but you don't know till folks show up and walk through the door. And SMRP has always done a great job as an organization of cultivating that ecosystem and making sure folks are fired up to be there.
Yeah. And a couple other cool things about it, at least for me, it was my first one. I don't get time to go into the workshops or the speaking sessions, but I get to talk to people afterwards, similarly to what you described, where, who were you talking to? And one that just keeps popping off in my head was a friend of mine. He's a real deal pro. His name's Andy Gager with AMG International Consulting. And he did 2 different sessions, and one of them was on MRO storeroom. And as you're describing that, I'm thinking some people might have been they're MaintainX users, and they hear that and they run over and they're like, hey, can we do this, that, and the other as it relates to our storeroom, our parts, our supplies. So that's how this all comes together. Plus, being that it's the Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, a very large organization that's both national and now international, with lots of chapters throughout. You've got the Carolinas chapter that's near the office you guys have in Raleigh that covers that region down through South Carolina. And they really get this convergence of people that are a combination of practitioners, trainers, people that really understand the industry now, and then going backwards. They're looking for people that are new to the industry that they can lift up, and they want to work with the vendors like MaintainX that are providing CMMS and maintenance management solutions and insights so that they can kind of get the metrics right. But it's all about behaviors, I think. And this is what I wanted to ask you just about, what you've learned over these years and what you've seen. I know you've been to a lot of the client sites. You've had I couldn't even guess how many conversations that you've had at booths with clients or potential clients, even people that don't become clients that just want to talk some shop. But the reality behind maintenance and the fundamentals and how those transfer into the technology, I mean, you're at a point now where you see the value of the outcomes, but you know that it's really focused on the behaviors, what we actually do, and being disciplined about that. Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a practice. It's not maintenance is not an outcome. It's something that you have to do every day. It has to be part of the culture. You look at total productive maintenance, and this is something that a lot of large Fortune 50s still don't quite get right. And it's not necessarily for lack of vision at the middle level of the management tier. It's sometimes a disconnect going up. But maintenance is the responsibility of everybody. Everyone's the eyes and ears, right? And it's everyone's responsibility to be a part of that. And that's a culture shift that has to take place within an organization in order to fully realize the value of that. And a lot of folks still think of maintenance as a cost center. And I think very wrongly so. I would think it's a growth opportunity, perhaps the biggest growth opportunity in the industrial space today, if thought about correctly. And so it's, how do we help raise that behavioral awareness? How do we help bring that cultural awareness across the lines of reliability? How do we enable reliability leaders to better communicate to their peers and other across these organizations, so that they can be better partners to one another and more collaborative and break down those silos? I think that's probably one of the next big challenges on the horizon that has to be addressed very quickly. I mean, the companies that don't will go by the wayside here if they can't figure that out, because you can't keep having these these silos of maintenance exist inside these companies and expect great results. The reality is it's got to be a multifaceted, effort that incorporates IT and OT and production and safety and quality and finance, everyone working in harmony instead of everyone kind of being at odds. And I think that's the part that it's no fault of the reliability ecosystem themselves as much as a function of the culture that's just sort of perpetuated across the broader landscape. And so, if we can help the reliability leaders that are in a place like SMRP or anywhere else that we are to understand how to communicate across those channels, and then conversely get in front of those other folks and help them understand the value of how they can work more collaboratively, that creates a behavior that, goes from being antagonistic internally and constant conflict, because maintenance and production managers are constantly sort of can be at odds if they aren't on the same page. Right. I need my line to run. I need to repair this line or it will not run at all. And how do we help everybody kind of work together, and build that team spirit again is kind of, I think, the fun challenge that I get excited about working on right now.
I do too. And I think that's a good closing out point. Just because that's the overall message. This is why we use technology like a CMMS, like MaintainX, and some of the other things that go along with it, the things that can plug into it, feed into it, communicate back and forth. So we're going top to bottom, left to right. I mean, this is a team sport. We're running organizations. We've got people on the plant floor that are trying to do the right maintenance, and we've got people that have to hit production numbers. And if we just keep working at it and putting these messages out, people will start to understand that maybe we can get there. So I think it's been great catching up. It was awesome seeing you at SMRP out in Texas, your home state, by the way. Again, thanks for that rodeo. I can't wait to see what you do in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'll see you over the next several months out on the circuit, and we'll have you on again. And Nick Haase, MaintainX, Friends of Nano on CMMS Radio. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Greg. Always a pleasure.
You got it. Yeah. Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.